Welcome, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get started shortly. I still see quite a few people that are missing, so hoping they join in the next few minutes. We are live on YouTube. We are recording, and again, we have a few minutes in case you have any burning questions or comments that you want to make. We have representation from the Air District, the interpretation team, and the facilitation team, and we're here to help. And yeah, we're excited to get started very shortly. Make yourself comfortable. Go back into the interpretation if that's the language you prefer. Si no está ya en el lenguaje español y usted prefiere escuchar la reunión en español, aquí están las instrucciones en mi monitor para que pueda encontrar el icono de interpretación y seleccionar español. Vamos a empezar en unos minutos y muchas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Welcome, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us today. There's a few key staff from, okay, actually, I see Heather on here, and maybe I'll start with the logistics since I think, Song, I'm looking to you. You think we could start with some of the logistics, housekeeping while Jess logs in?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, wonderful. So it is 5:30, so I'm going to get us started, and then, hopefully the community members and anyone else that is going to join us today is going to transition over. I'll just get us started with our housekeeping slides and yeah, just again, opening up the meeting and just so grateful that you're here with us for another AB 617 meeting for the Arvin Lamont community. My name is Daniela Flores, and I'm from the Harder & Company Community Research Facilitation Team. It's great to be here with you for this June meeting. It's meeting number 19. And, we anticipate today's meeting. It's on a Monday. It makes me feel like today's Wednesday just because I'm here with you all, but it is Monday, and we anticipate today's meeting to be a little bit shorter than our usual meeting. So on the agenda, we have more so to wrap around 6:30. this evening. And so as you know, today is a big day. I'm going to walk us through these housekeeping slides shortly, just to make sure everyone's on the right language channel, like if you and so I'll give those instructions shortly, but here's one slide really quick. You always see this one, and today is especially important that we get your name renamed, since we're anticipating a vote on the SERP document. Want to make sure that we're able to identify, if you're a voting member. And so the team is right now working really hard to kind of get that done as folks walk in. If you are usually a person that renames yourself, please feel free to do so. Here's the naming convention. And then here is what that would look like in Spanish. I'm just going to move us to this one because I really want to make sure if anyone's listening to me right now and that you're in the right language. So again, this is the slide that shows you how to get to the right language. And you're able to look for the globe icon and select the language that you want to listen to this meeting in. And you should be able to find a menu, tools menu option here, and find that globe that says interpretation. If you're joining us from the Zoom app, there's some 3 dots and it says more, or select those 3 dots because it usually means that there's some other settings, and then you'll be able to select right here. It says language interpretation. So it should look something similar. And yeah, please do raise your hand if you have any tech issues. And then I'm wondering if the interpretation team would like to support me to include this, whether it be in the chat or if you would like to unmute yourself and share the Spanish version of what I just mentioned. I'll invite you to the floor.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Daniela. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sound great.
Ok, buenas tardes, bienvenidos a todos. Como siempre, tenemos interpretación en español disponible para ustedes en esta reunión. Si ustedes están utilizando una computadora, van a ver el icono de un mundo en la parte baja de su pantalla. Seleccionen el canal de español. Si están utilizando una tableta o un celular, tienen que tocar su pantalla. Van a buscar 3 puntitos en la parte de abajo donde dice más o more. Seleccionen interpretación de idioma. Después seleccionen español y por último en la parte de arriba presionen el botón que dice listo o done o finalizar para que puedan escuchar la junta completamente en español. Si tienen algún problema para conectarse, por favor déjenos saber. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, and I see Jessica, welcome. I see you're on here, and hopefully all the CSC members are trickling in, and hopefully most are here. I'm looking at 45 people in this meeting, so we're almost there. Before I go into the etiquette, just I wanted to say this earlier, but wanted to make sure the interpretation was set up for anyone that is listening to us today. But, I just want to recognize that it's such a big day today as we're anticipating a vote on a community emissions reduction program that you all have been working on. As your facilitators, we have seen this committee and this CSC engage in many hours of very critical conversations with the Air District, with the California Air Resources Board, with local government agencies, and all the different agencies that are involved to get to this point, which is a big milestone in your work. So we, on behalf of the facilitation team, just want to congratulate you no matter what happens today. Like, we just want to congratulate you for getting to this point, and want to continue to express our gratitude that you continue to show up, you continue to engage and commit to this process, and trusting to whatever extent you're able to, a process that is very much very new and in general, statewide, right? You're part of 15 communities that are doing this. And so again, congratulations as you're one of the newest communities on this journey. It's been great to see you that get to this point so that you all are able to kind of get to that implementation that I think is very much desired from everyone that's involved in this process. So, having said all this, I'll just continue with our, walkthrough of the housekeeping slides and really want to make sure you have as much time to engage in this very important part of your journey. So with that, I'm gonna go back to the slides. Just a reminder here, very common. So just to remind you to please make sure that you're able to stay on mute if you're not talking at any point, just to make sure that people are really able to get all the audio from anything that anyone says. If you're on the phone, if you're on the phone using the phone line versus the app, you can press *6 if you would like to unmute. And if you would like to raise your hand, you can press *9. Residents in the stipend program should stay at least 75% of this meeting to be eligible for that stipend. And so today's meeting is also eligible. You're also eligible for a stipend for attending this meeting. Here are some of the community agreements that you all have put together in last year. So I'll just kind of remind you what folks have added on here. One of the goals is to, or one of those agreements is to help achieve the meeting goals, and today being arriving at some sort of consensus for the CERP document, making sure that we work together so that everyone has a chance to speak, that we honor respect in these conversations, that we're able to kind of work together to work through those conversations and the things that folks have in mind, and focus on the discussion at hand, and seeking common ground as much as possible. And just to give you an overview of what we're doing, I'll very shortly pass on the floor to the community co-chair and the Air District lead to share some opening remarks. We'll really have dedicated most of today's time to get through that CERP vote that's anticipated. And as always, we want to make sure that we wrap up with any actions that come up out of our discussion, share those with you. If there are none, then we will just focus on identifying or just reminding you of when the meeting date for July. And of course, if there are any members of the public that have joined us this evening, there is always space for you to share, and we'll make sure that there is time for you to get your comments in as well. Pretty sure that's my last one for these housekeeping slides. So at this point, I really would love to welcome the Air District and Jessica to share some opening remarks as we kick off this discussion.
Thank you, Daniela. Awesome. Well, I just want to thank you all and echo Daniela's comments about the sort of monumental moment that we're in right now, and just all of the hard work that's gone into the CERP development process. I might have heard something, but I don't know if that's someone being on mute. Perfect. So just to kind of recap, and we've done this recap the past few meetings, but just to kind of express our thanks for all of this time and effort we've put into this. We started this process over a year ago, and we've had monthly meetings, sometimes more than monthly meetings. And a lot of that was really to establish the groundwork and get to the point where we're at today with this document that includes a lot of all of the measures that you've all worked so hard to help provide feedback on and make sure that the district includes in moving forward. And so I just want to thank you for all of that hard work. None of this would happen if it wasn't for the fact that you all show up to every meeting and come and spend your evenings, your precious evenings that you could be spending with your family with us. So I just want to thank you with that. And then I'm just looking again, I still don't see, do we have our co-leads on here, Daniela? Okay, I don't see them either. So, I see Gus.
Oh, I see him. Okay, there you go.
So go ahead. I'm going to pass it to Gus first, and then I'm going to come back and start framing a little bit of the rest of the night. But I just want to also recognize, I know I did it a little bit last time, but publicly recognize Bianca and Gus Jr. for being these incredible co-leads and working with us on this process. It is really with their leadership and with all of your support of their leadership that we're able to do this. And I'll just pass it to Gus for a little bit about tonight and kind of next steps. And then I'll go back and kind of frame a little bit of our meeting tonight.
Hey, no, how's it going, everyone? Good evening. I'll keep it nice and short since tonight's meeting is to go over the final CERP measure and then, decide if we take a vote on this or whether we take a vote on this. So yeah, no, very much happy to be at this point. We all worked very hard and we want to make sure that we acknowledge everyone's hard work and everyone's dedication and input. There's a lot that we went through as far as process and excited to be at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Gus. Really appreciate those remarks. And I recognize that I don't see Bianca on my screen. Maybe I might be missing her, but if she does end up joining us today, we'll, create some space for her to be able to share her remarks, as she's been incredibly important to this process as well. Yeah, with that, I think we're really able to transition to the discussion, and maybe I'll start with some brief comments and then definitely want to turn it over to both of you to kind of help frame the conversation for today. But what I can offer is really that, I don't know if some of you know, but we also are facilitators for other communities in San Joaquin, and we're also facilitators for Imperial County, and really just reminding us all in this greater context of the state, right? We started this legislation, AB 617, in 2018. Multiple communities have been selected since then, and all the communities have been tasked with something that has really never been done for air quality in the state of California, but is really has the potential to kind of become a model for how a lot of the different issues get worked through in collaboration with agencies and community members. And so, all that to say that, everyone's kind of learning together on how to best, design these SERPs, how to best work together with all the different groups to get this done. And just to know that there's a long history for all parties involved on, different levels of engagement around the air quality issues or other issues that are related to this topic. And so, just know that, that all communities are kind of working this and are in different phases. And so as you all have brought so much knowledge and insight from the things you hear of the other communities, will continue to kind of evolve into implementation. So that to say that there's so much more that's ahead. And really, this is one moment, that is tied to kind of state legislation to really put this framework together. And I know Jessica and others will talk more about this in detail, but just wanted to ground us into feeling the how big this moment is across the state, and that really this community has the opportunity to be one of those 15 communities to tackle this issue of air quality that is so needed. So with that, I won't take more time, and thank you for that space, and really want to welcome Jessica to share some additional opening remarks for the item on the vote, potential vote of the SERP document.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniela. So the first thing I wanted to start off was just thanking all of you for the feedback, especially in the last few weeks. We had an intention to vote on this on May 25th, and many of you expressed concerns, and we heard you that was too soon. There were still some things we needed to discuss. And if you recall, at that meeting a few weeks ago, we had a lot of great discussion on some changes, in particular to the pesticides measure, but then just generally overall on wanting a little bit more time. And really in this case, it turned out to be about 10 days, a little more than 10 days more time to sit with the document that was in front of you, see a little bit of an update on that pesticides piece, and then talk about how to move forward. And so we wanted to bring to you today an opportunity to vote on the SERP that would go to our governing board next Thursday. This is the date we keep putting on the calendar and we keep talking to you about. It's the date that's related to the extension we got from the California Air Resources Board, which was to take the SERP to our board in June when it was technically due in February. And we knew pretty early on that we wanted more time as a group to spend more time developing the budget that we developed and working on all of the measures that we worked on. And so with that, taking it to the vote on, or to the governing board next week, we wanted to take time today to explain a little bit of what would happen after next week. So we haven't really talked about what implementation means, and you've heard from us, and Gus Jr. expressed it last time, is that once we have a SERP or that big document approved by our governing board, we start what we call implementation. And that's working with you guys on taking what's high level in the SERP, meaning sometimes the SERP doesn't have all of the words or all the exact commitments that we want. The details aren't there. There's not big timelines in the SERP. We don't even explain who would be prioritized for things or exactly what the outreach plan is for a certain measure, for example. That's because all of that happens over the next 5 years in implementation. And so we wanted to let you know that we're really excited that once the SERP goes to our board, we have the green light to start with that implementation. And we've heard and talked with a few of you about what the priorities are for that implementation. And I think most people on this call would agree, based on our conversation, that one of the main priorities is continuing the big discussions we're having on pesticides. We've also heard that priorities are making sure that we're removing impacts from heavy duty trucks. And so those are two examples of things we can start what we call subcommittees right when we start implementation. The reason I'm explaining this to you right now is we want to make sure that when you go to vote tonight, you know that this isn't the last time to help direct the district on how to move these measures. It's actually just the starting point to get approval from our board so we can start working on these measures. And so we're really looking forward to getting, if we take it to our board and it gets approved by our board based on support tonight, on our commitment as a district is to establish a pesticides subcommittee and potentially other subcommittees as directed by you all to continue to work on the commitments that we've put in the SERP, to continue to bring DPR and the county and CARB and OWIHA, all of those partners in those, to continue to bring them to the table. Finally, I just want to let you know that we've heard from a lot of you about all of the different commitments in the pesticide measures, and we hope that the changes that reflect that you asked for buffer zones, as well as the commitment from DPR and Kern County that's written in the SERP for mitigation, which includes buffer zones, that's part of a mitigation measure. We hope that that helps people know that the door is open for those conversations. So we're really excited. We hope that you agree that a pesticide subcommittee is a good idea. We're really eager to do all of the other things in the SERP, which is the $30 million in incentives, all of the emissions reductions that we're hoping to get through all of those, as well as the commitments about coming to you all on a monthly and quarterly basis on enforcement activities and regulatory processes for writing rules and regulations and monitoring of air pollution. So there's a lot that's in there. We appreciate all the work, and I just wanted to let you all know that the work really begins now once we adopt the SERP. And Gus, I don't know if you had anything more to add from your perspective as someone who's helped implement a SERP in the past, but just on how the CSC can continue to guide SERP implementation after it's been adopted. If you just wanted to add a little bit to kind of what that process looks like.
Yeah, no, again, I think just reiterating what Jessica just stated was that, I think it's like, after this and it's approved by the board, both the regional and the states, then it's like day one of implementation, right? Then we start kind of nailing down the pennies and cents, right, of what goes where. So yeah, this is kind of, right, like think of it as a blueprint, right? And this, we'll mention it again and again, like this is a blueprint of what will continue to be this growing AB 617, right? And so yeah, think of it as that. But again, if there's questions, that's great too.
And I'm happy to take Gustavo's question.
Yeah, well, I think I like what you mentioned, Jessica, about the pesticides. Both, I think the changes that you made on the language, on the document, I think those are fair enough to continue the conversation. And also the the subcommittee to talk about pesticides. I think that's a good idea, understanding that it may not be necessarily, a official SERP, but it's very, very important that, we had all those conversations in prior meetings, for this project here in Arvin, Lamont. The only, and you know that I sent some clarifying questions when I first reviewed, the last version that you sent, of, what you mean, with the language, that, the agencies, but also the county is willing to have the conversations with us on the pesticides. And I think you clarified to me, that the Kern County means, in this, for this purpose, is the agricultural commissioner. And I think for us as residents, if I would love, I think, and it's just me right now, but I know that the old residents will be happy to hear the ag commissioners, few words, him saying, yeah, the county is willing, is willing to explore, options and all of that. I think that will be something good, for us to start with the right foot, talking about pesticides. I don't know if the ag commissioner is willing to affirm, the language that is on the document.
Thank you so much, Gustavo, for that.
And that's a question right now, so I don't know if he wants to.
Yeah, I was gonna see if Glenn, not to put you on the spot, but wanted to see if you wanted to share some thoughts at this point.
I think that will become clear during next Tuesday's meeting.
And to clarify, the Tuesday meeting that Glenn is talking is the Board of Supervisors meeting. Glenn, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Seeing that not a lot of us may be able to attend or even participate, do you mind expanding on what those comments are? I mean, it seems like you're set into what's going to be said on Tuesday.
These comments are not my comments. They're comments that are from Lorelei, with the Planning Commission.
Well, I think Gustavo was asking specifically about you, so I'm not sure if you're willing to expand on
that. I don't have any problem with anything that's currently in the SERP that's proposed now.
Thank you all.
Great, thank you.
So Daniela, that was all of the context that I had. And so I'm happy to start us in the process if you want to explain how the voting procedures go. And then also check in with our team if they need more time to do the breakout groups.
Great. That sounds great. So I'm going to share my screen one more time, and definitely Gustavo Jr., feel free to jump in here if you wanted to make any additional remarks. I'll just kind of move us along to here if, to this next step if I don't. Okay, I see thumbs up from you. Great. So you have already gone through this similar process in December of 15th, I believe was the day. You all were proposing or entertaining the idea to put a vote forward at that time, and we worked on a small breakout group. And so I have a very brief well, it's not brief, there's a lot of text on this slide, and I'll go to the Spanish version in a second. But what we're going to do is very similar to what you did in December, because it is such a large CSC meeting or CSC. We really are going to break you out into small groups. Each group will have a facilitator from the Air District team, except for one of those. So there's 5 teams or 5. Let me make sure I'm saying that correctly. There are 6 breakout rooms, and there's going to be a mix. Some are going to be facilitated by the Air District, and one will be facilitated by one of our facilitators from the Harder & Company team. Each of you, the groups are they're going to be pretty small, no bigger than 10. And so you can expect to be with a couple of you. And so really what we hope that at the point that you go into the voting into your small breakouts, that you are at that point really just focused on getting your vote in. As you see on my screen, you all have, these are some text from your charter where, for this particular decision, because it's one of the biggest decisions that you all will make in this journey, we're going to have a formal vote. And I think I'm sure those are like mistakes coming onto the screen. So my apologies. They're not distracting so much, and you can still see the text, hopefully. But just wanted to remind folks of what the process that you agree to in your charter. We're basically going to have, we've already kind of checked and with the air district and about any potential conflict of interest due to direct financial impact, and there was nothing raised around that. And I'll get to you, Gustavo Aguirre, in a second. Eligible voting members must vote as an individual. That's why we're breaking you up into small groups so that you can actually use your voice to give that vote. Of course, we encourage you to turn on your camera so that you could document that vote. It's not obviously mandatory, but we really do encourage you to do that. And we know there's some people where there's multiple of you in one camera or one Zoom. So, just like let your facilitator know if that's the case, especially if you're off camera. Just let them know if there's multiple of you that will want to engage in that vote. And then just wanted to remind people that government officials are considered ex officio, and so they will not be in the voting small breakout. So if we make a mistake and accidentally put a government member, please do let us know. If you're a government member and you went into a breakout room, just let us know that you're, and we'll put you back into the main room where I will be. And I think the other thing to know is that you will have a facilitator that will remind you a little bit about this process. But we do have a tracker, and maybe I'll show you very briefly what that looks like. It's again similar to what you've seen already, but this is the form that we will be displaying on the YouTube channel while I'm in the main room. This is where we'll document your vote. It has everyone's name. And then it also, the facilitator in the room will be putting your vote, whether yes, you approve to send the proposed SERP document to the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District Board, or if no, you do not approve to send the proposed SERP document to the San Joaquin Air Pollution Control District Board. All of your names are on here, and at the bottom, you'll be able to see if the count of those that vote yes and no. To remind you, what's in your charter is that you're looking for a majority. So that means 50% plus one, so 51%, depending on who is present and is eligible sort of voting member. And so our team is keeping a track of who's here, and we'll be able to let you know at the end whether you have a majority. And of course, you will be able to see it on the screen, since your facilitator will be sharing their screen while they're documenting your vote. It's really important that you double check that what you said in terms of your vote is what the facilitator typed. So make sure that if you said yes, make sure that under your name it says yes. They'll verify it with you, like double check. They're prepared to do that. And so at this point, I'm going to switch my slide. Maybe I'm going to show the slide that I was just displaying in Spanish and open it up for any questions about the process. As folks have mentioned, this moment is really once we go into the breakout room, and I will take questions. So Gustavo will take your question, and any other clarifying questions, we will take those, because once we go to the breakout room, the idea is that you're really just focused at that point on the vote, whether it's a yes or a no. So hopefully that feels good, that feels fair, and that you feel clear on what the instruction is. If I could take some questions to clarify anything, and also know that your facilitator in the room will also just give you a brief reminder of what I just said. At this point, I can take your question, Gustavo. And if anyone else has questions, please raise your hand at this time and we'll come to you.
Yeah, I have maybe one for the process and one about, maybe just to comment before the process. for each room, we all are going to have the chance for vote for each of the SERPs, right? Each group will have all the SERPs to vote.
You are voting on the whole document.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to approve the whole document to go. Each one, we did the individual votes already on all of the other measures. So those are included in the SERP only if they passed. So for example, we didn't include, I keep using street sweeper as an example because it was not voted to be in there. So it's not in there.
Okay.
All of the things we discussed at the last meeting and were sent are on this in the SERP.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. And just I don't know if all the steering committee members know, but Leadership Council sent a comment letter, I believe, this today, and I just want to mention it to be sure that it is mentioned to everybody. One of the comments on the letter about dairy digesters, that got my attention, but Jessica called me and clarified me, and I think it was satisfactory to me, Jessica's explanation. But I would like to hear a little bit from maybe Mrs. De La Rosa, if she's okay with as moving forward, the comments that you submitted. You have any other extra comments for the rest of us, the steering committee members? As I mentioned, I think for me, the main piece that got my attention, Jessica was able to explain it to me. It is okay with me, moving forward like that. But I just wanted to mention for others before we go to take the vote.
And if I could just clarify what I mentioned to Gustavo, so you all know the conversation we had, because I appreciate the transparency. The comment letter that he's referring to, and Sandra's with Leadership Council, whose hand is up, so I'll go to her, or let us go to her next. Is several parts of the SERP are really background information for control programs and incentives programs the district already has or has done throughout the valley as sort of a lead in to the commitments. We did not include any commitments in the SERP about dairy digesters. We're just using as an example some of the types of operations that we've funded for agricultural operations throughout the valley. And so that's an example, but I agree that none of the committee members were interested, and it's not a SERP commitment. It will not be something we will pursue as a part of the SERP. And so I appreciate the comment from Leadership Council and the question from Gustavo. And so thank you.
Thank you all. We can go to you, Sandra.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Sandra Plasencia. I am a policy advocate with Leadership Council. I'm fairly new to the role. Thank you for having me in your space. Really quickly, thank you, Gustavo, for mentioning the comment letter that we sent in earlier today. We didn't mention dairy digesters. I don't know if Emma has any comments on that. I can definitely ask her. I could text her really quick and then get back to you. I did want to mention really quick that this SERP is specifically for residents. And I just wanted to mention to the residents that this is your work, and the voting is up to you, and you can always vote no. You don't have to vote yes, but this is all up to you. This work is for you. I'm pretty sure we can share the comment letter. I'll look for it and I'll share it in the group chat right now too. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandra. And we'll look out. There's some conversation in the comments, so it looks like people will have access to that letter. So yes, maybe while you're thinking about it, you can kind of skim through it. And yeah, I don't see Emma on here. So if Emma does respond, and we'll create space before we go in, if she ends up messaging us before we go there. Jessica, do you want to share something? And then we have one more hand.
Yeah, I'll share a couple of things. One is that we did just get the letter, so we are happy, and we will continue to post any other comments we receive to our public space and let you all know. We're happy to do that. And I'd also just want to make sure that we're sharing space, Daniela, for CSC members, and then we can take public comment at the end if Emma does have a comment.
Thank you for that. That's right. So for those that don't know, Sandra ended up replacing Emma de la Rosa as the primary CSC member. So when you go to your group, you will see Sandra versus Emma at this point. So just kind of mentioning that, and our rosters have been updated with that information. And at this point, we can take a comment from Jesus Alonso.
Thank you. I just had a quick question. I know we talked about what it would, what next steps are going to look like once we pass with the 50% plus one. What would happen, or what would the steps be if it was rejected with 50% plus one? What would the next steps look like?
I don't really see us taking now. We want a SERP that's supported by the community. So I'll just say, I don't really see us taking a SERP that's unsupported by the community to the board. So we'd have to talk, with our team about what those next steps are. So whether it's a matter of a particular piece, and we could have time, but we do have to publish this on Thursday if it's going to our board. I will say that this was based on a 4-month extension from CARB. And we do not have a board meeting in July. So it would be a matter of if it was something that wasn't going to go, we wouldn't take it until August, which would then delay kind of that whole process of implementation and potentially delay CARB, who I believe is taking it in October. And what I'm committed to doing is after we take the vote, depending on what happens, giving you more definitive direction on next steps and what that looks like. Because I think I might need some clarification from my team as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful. Gustavo?
Yeah, I have just a kind of quick procedural question. So for texting a resident here, for Elvia, there is 5 people in them in person. So just go ahead. I think all their names are on there. So yeah, just there's more than one person on that group.
Perfect. Yes, that is part of the reason, and Daniela will explain this more too, or I think explained it a little bit. That's definitely the reason we want to do the voice vote, is to make sure folks that have multiple people, every single person gets counted. So yes, clarify right now with us, or clarify in your breakout room who's there.
Yes, and we have a pre-assigned list that we're working with, Gustavo. We basically taken that into account and have distributed all the group members to make sure that any households that are usually like sign in together, obviously in the same room, and kind of taking that into account, so you all have ample time to kind of go through the process of letting the facilitator know who's there and what the vote is. Any other questions that we can clarify before we break out into the small groups so that you all can document your vote? I'm looking to my team to see if the breakout rooms are ready. Thumbs up. Zhang?
Yeah, sorry. Can we see who might be Isabella Bravo iPhone? I'm not sure if that's a CSC member or if that's a public member.
Absolutely. Isabel Bravo, we are wondering if you can unmute yourself and let us know if you're a member of the public or if you are community steering committee member, so that we can know if we should put you in a breakout room or if you can hang out with us here in the main room while we take the vote.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, my name is Isabel Bravo, and I work for Tasteful Selections here in Arvin, California. And this meeting was sent to me to my work calendar.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you so much.
Tasteful Selections. So I'm new to the program, but as a new Vice President of Environmental Health and Safety, I logged on just to understand a little bit more what this is all about.
We're so glad you joined us, Isabel. We're going to go ahead and, I will be in the main room. And so also happy to chat with you. And while we watch the vote happen on my screen, I'm going to be sharing that. So thank you so much. if you did want to make some comments, some remarks, we have a public comment space that you will definitely, be able to contribute if you would like to share your thoughts at that point as well. Great. I don't see any other hands, so it looks like we're ready to go into those small breakout rooms, and I got thumbs up from our team, so I know those are ready to go. So unless there are any burning questions, feel free to go to the room. You should see the notification already.
That was a pretty successful break. It was all, oh wait, except for Jose, sorry. I was about to, I spoke too soon. We'll get you.
All right, Jose, let me get you, or Amy's working on it. I can see her. We'll get you in shortly. I'll do a double check, but yeah, that looks.
Jose, when I ping you, make sure that you accept.
Nothing is popping up on my end. Let me see if somewhere else on my computer. No, nothing's popping up on my end.
Oh, that worked.
Thank you, Amy. All right, I'll go ahead.
Lorena Contreras.
Sí, soy yo, me sacó de la junta en la computadora.
Bueno, ahorita le voy a mandar otro mensaje y cuando reciba la notificación, por favor, se va a mover al cuarto. Cuarto número 1.
Ok.
Lista.
Thank you, Amy. I think we're good. I'll keep an eye out. But yeah, thanks everyone. I just shared my screen right now. So if you are watching on YouTube, we've just gone into small breakout rooms where the Community Steering Committee is going to be voting on whether they approve to send the proposed Community Emissions Reduction Program document to the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District Board. So bear with us. You can follow along and watch as the process happens in real time. We have in my screen, you're able to see, the names of those committee members and the votes that are taking place. Anyone else? Oh yeah, I just wanted to see if you wanted to share anything else. Okay, one group is back. Okay, great.
Speed voters.
So at the bottom of the screen, you can see the total yeses, the total no's. You can take a look at how that moves as people make decisions and add ones next to the different names. So once again, if you happen to just open YouTube, you heard a very important vote is happening in the AB 617 Community Air Protection Program in the Arvin Lamont community. The Community Steering Committee, sorry, there's lots of acronyms. The Community Steering Committee is currently in small breakout rooms, making an important decision to vote whether they approve to send a proposed Community Emissions Reduction Program document to the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District for consideration. And what you see on my screen is a list of all the CSC members the vote that they're documenting in the small breakout room. And then you're also able to see the total at the bottom. So currently we are at 27 yeses in agreement to approve this document that is posted on the Air Pollution Control District website in the Arvin Lamont community subsection of the website. You're able to see a draft of this document. If you're wondering what are people voting on right now, you're able to see that document. It's a document that this steering committee has been working on for a very long time with input from community members and in collaboration with all the different agencies, including the California Air Resources Board, the Air Pollution Control District, as well as other local agencies and in partnership with residents and community-based organizations, businesses, and local government. So again, thank you for joining us tonight. We are at 33 in terms of the numbers documented. I still see some groups that are in their breakout rooms. So we are probably about halfway through a vote. So we will be updating you periodically, and just will keep display the total count of the total votes that have gotten support for this SERP.
And I say we have like half the participants. A lot of people like me probably exit the entire meeting instead of the room. I had to reconnect real quick.
Oh, good reminder.
Oh no, guys, I'm so sorry.
It's the button is way too close.
Yeah, I was like,
so if you're a CSC member and you are watching on YouTube, some people I know watch them both. If you are watching on YouTube and you're like, I closed the meeting accidentally, not to worry. You're able to come back, just go back to the same link, whether you found the link on your email or if it was in the your calendar. Just look at where you found the link and that's the same link. You can join us back in. So we're at 34 and we've been at that number for a little bit. So let me scan. It looks like there's maybe 1.5 rooms, maybe 2 rooms with folks that might still be, once the facilitator joins for room 1, it looks like there's some people that return, but others are still there. So looks like there's 2-3 rooms that are still finishing up that vote. Sandra, I can take your comment or question.
Yes, sorry, Emma just replied back to me. I don't know if the senior's here yet. She just wanted him to know, or everyone on the CSC to know, that as a part of Leadership Council, we are not in accordance with dairy digesters. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. And I don't know if Gustavo's back. I'm trying to glance at my list here. Yeah, I think Gustavo's back. Hoping he heard that. Thank you for reporting back. And we're almost there, folks. And it's feeling very historic here. I feel like we're watching. I mean, hopefully you feel together in this excitement. I know it's been a long road. So we have a few more folks that are still voting, and we're at 35 for yes. So we're almost there.
In looking at the folks that I see are still in breakout rooms, it looks like they've all cast a vote. So
everybody will be coming back in 10 seconds.
Okay, perfect.
As long as they don't reject my request and leave.
Thanks for checking that, Jessica. I did not even think of doing that. All right. And we really are right on schedule. So in a moment, the breakout rooms will close and we'll welcome everyone back into the meeting. Thank you all for engaging in that process. This is a democratic process that you get to have to make your voice heard. And, it's very positive to see that, the current SERP reflects your support. So at this point, I really do want to turn it back over to Jessica or Gustavo to see if there's anything else to share, but this is pretty apparent that there is a majority of those present here, given that there are no no's on here. So just for the record, just stating that, and then would like to turn it over to you all before we move forward to wrap up our meeting and talk about next steps.
I will just congratulate you all. I definitely do not want the final word on this. I think that belongs with your main co-lead and Gus Jr. But congratulate you all. Thank you all, and know that we are all committed. Everyone on this call from all the different agencies and all the different partners are committed to making this SERP part of the community-driven process it's been. And really, to Sandra's earlier point, this is for the residents and this is for you. And we want to keep working on making this the best possible implementation. And so thank you. This is amazing. And I'm gonna pass it to Gus.
Yeah, no, thank you. I think this reflects, the power of community, right? And again, I think there was a lot expressed, right? This is not the most advanced SERP possibly out there, but is one that I think residents should be very much proud of. I think we got some good strategies out there. There's stuff that is out of the regulatory grasp of what we wish we could do, right? But again, the nexus of this project is to reduce and curtail emissions, right, into communities, right? And so I think we've expanded a little bit beyond that, and that's very good. But again, this is a good blueprint to start that work of implementation, and then really doing a deeper dive. So very proud of everyone. Everyone here should be very proud of themselves as well. This is, when you bring all stakeholders to one place, I think you get stuff like this, right? Stuff that's relatively good, beneficial for the community, and beneficial for long-term collaboration. So kudos to everyone.
Would anyone else like to make any other comments at this point before I move on to wrap up this meeting?
Sí, buenas noches, mi nombre es José Ojeda. Lo siento porque no tengo mucha señal, pero quería votar y mi voto es sí a lo que se está votando.
¿Cuál es su apellido? What's your name, José? ¿Cuál es su apellido? ¿Cuál es su apellido, perdón?
Ojeda.
Okay, thank you. Team, if we can just add that to the record. And then I'll go, I don't know who put their hand first, but I'll go with Jose.
I apologize for the background music. I'm at a Starbucks. I want to thank everybody, the Air District staff, all the CSC members, and especially the community, not just for the work that we put in through this process, but the work that was put in to get Arvin and Lamont selected as one of the communities. From the first round of meetings where other communities got selected, we didn't give up. And it's really community members like the Committee for Better Arvin, the Comité de Progreso for Lamont, and all the partners. I remember going to meetings in Chapter, meeting some of the staff from Chapter or from the Air District, and missed a couple of classes for law school. And the reason I haven't been participating for some of the meetings is because I was studying for the bar. So I apologize for that, but I'm incredibly proud of all the work and this final SERP, and I'm excited to see this implemented. So thank you, congratulations to the community, and looking forward to making this happen.
Thank you, Jose. I appreciate you sharing those remarks with the community. Gustavo Aguirre.
Just want to know when, I think Jessica mentioned that we are going to have some, or maybe several subcommittees to work on some issues. When we are going to start putting those subcommittees together, because the state notification on pesticides is happening this month, and my understanding is that we are not going to have another meeting this month. So
yes, we want to start. So our July meeting, and we've just had this conversation with the co-leads. We will do two things. We will start to talk about subcommittees, and definitely maybe implement some obviously earlier than others, as well as talk about air monitoring. It's been a while since we've talked about air monitoring. And I know that it does include, right, some pesticide stuff, but especially our district community air monitors we talked about a few months ago. And so with that, though, we don't want to slow down on all of the work DPR already has out there to engage folks. And we will send you all, we just got another notice and we'll forward it out to you on kind of reiterating those same focus groups, like you said, at the end of the month for DPR. So we're definitely going to keep that moving. And then once we establish subcommittees, talk more about how to keep that engagement going.
well, thank you. Looking forward to work together and just make our job easy. Don't resist too much and work with us.
Gracias. Thank you, Gustavo. I love it. You're ready to get to work, continue working. That's the spirit. Any other final comments? Again, this is your moment. I want to make sure there's space if there is something you want to share. I don't see any other hands.
I just want to say thanks to everybody who's been working so hard. And thank you, Jose Urola, for getting involved with the community. We love to see you around, and it's just great. Thank you very much on behalf of Committee for a Better Arvin.
Thank you, Sal. And then Elvia, Juliet, and others, feel free to unmute and share. So Jessie, Sabrina, Julia, Elvia, if one of you would like to share, feel free to unmute. We can't hear anything, so if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Oh, soy Jessie García. ¿Puedo también votar? Oh.
No alcanzó a votar?
No.
Okay, let me see. The facilitators, let me see. Could the facilitator that was that had this
Danny.
family under Danny, could you share if you were able to document Jesse's vote or what's going on? You're muted, Danny.
Jesse Garcia was not noted, no, because he was not present.
Okay, thank you. So if you can add Jesse, did anyone else in your household need to vote that did not vote? ¿Hay alguien más que no votó en su hogar? Okay, perfect. So it's just one small discrepancy. If you can add that to the documentation, Danny.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did he say yes?
Es que ahora estábamos unos en un lado, otros en otro lado y así. Ahora nos estuvimos en diferentes lados. Por eso cuando él dijo Jesse, pues yo no sabía dónde estaba.
Okay, no problem. So we could just clarify, was the vote a yes or a no for approving the Community Emissions Reduction Program for consideration at the Air Pollution Control District Board?
Sí.
Okay, let's say yes. Thank you all. Any other discrepancies? Is there anyone that wasn't able to get their vote in? Want to make sure that we document it. Any other kind of issues like that? All right.
Sí, buenas noches.
José.
Sí, soy José, solamente quiero estar seguro si tomaron mi voto.
Sí.
Soy José Ojeda.
Sí, confirmo eso. Just confirming that Jose Ojeda's vote is documented as yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you. All right,
Muchas gracias.
A usted, gracias. Well, with that, there's some comments in the chat. Really quick, I'm just gonna wrap us up, move us along. There's a final public comment that I want to make sure we have space for. But before I do that, I just want to remind everyone that there's some comments in the chat from Michelle, your liaison from the California Air Resources Board. There's a meeting. I'm wondering, Michelle, if you wanted to just give a brief summary of what you added in the chat.
Sure, yeah, I added a little note about we have 2 events happening this week, one on Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then one on Thursday. They have the same exact comment, and the one on Thursday is offered, make sure I tell you the right time, at 5 to 6:30, and we're calling it kind of a funding 101, and the idea is kind of talking about where AB 617 funding goes and sort of how the process works. So would love to have anybody participate who'd like to, and hope to see some of you there. And congratulations, by the way, it was awesome. Super excited to be in the implementation phase now with you all. Well,
Yay.
Not quite officially, but we're getting there.
And I will just add to Michelle's, we did send that out to the committee. So just look in your emails or in the links that Michelle just dropped in.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Michelle. Definitely an important meeting to attend if you're able to. Some final remarks here. Just a reminder, we will not be meeting June 22nd. You all deserve a break. We'll reconvene on July 27th at 5 p.m. via Zoom once again. There's not really anything else other than just to bring up Liz from our facilitation team. There's 2 action items and they're going to take a second. So we'll go ahead and do that and then just move on to that public comment and then adjourn our meeting. Liz, if you're ready to go, I'll go ahead and give you the floor.
Yes, I'll just share my screen real quick.
You might have to Zoom. I'll let you know.
Okay. Can you see it?
That looks
Zoom
good.
in a little bit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So looks like they're just 2 action items for tonight. The first is the subcommittee's development. And the action, I guess, is to begin this process in our next scheduled meeting, which is on July 27th. And the last one is that there is a CARB meeting regarding the AB 617 funding on June 7th and June 9th. These will be posted online, so I think you could even click this hyperlink to see the information. Are there any questions or modifications or additions? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I think a reminder, if I'm correct, June 14th is the county supervisors meeting. I believe it's their 9 a.m. meeting.
It is there, and that I'm glad you brought that up, Gustavo. Can we add as an action item, the district will send out the link to the agenda. It will be posted on Thursday, and it is their 2 p.m. meeting. They have 2 different ones, and so I'm glad you said that, Gustavo. We'll help clarify, and we'll let folks know about that meeting.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll send kind of a summary of what happened today and next steps, if that helps for everyone to kind of organize. There's a lot of next steps, I think, and we'll kind of send a little rundown.
Gustavo, go ahead.
Yeah, my question is really quickly on the CARB 617 funding meeting. Can you just, like in one sentence, I guess, explain like who's available for that funding? Is it CSCs? Is it organizations? Is it residents that are available that participate in the 617? Or is it like for 617 new communities?
It's meant to serve anybody who just wants to understand the funding process. So it's going to sort of start at the top, sort of where the funding come from, how it gets distributed into sort of 3 different buckets, and then how it goes from there. We will have, actually Jess will be there to give us a quick example of your amazing budgeting tool. A lot of this has to do with our road to explaining how participatory budgeting has been occurring in various districts. And so the budgeting tool you all use is one of the examples that we will be provided. So it's meant to be a little bit high level, but it's kind of a great beginning, you know, a great starting point to understand the process. Looks like Deldy's got some more to fill in for me.
Thanks, Michelle. Gus, I would just add that if there's interest in understanding how incentives are deployed as part of implementation, we are going to cover that a little bit, as Michelle says, kind of at a high level. But it should provide a little bit more background about once you're getting into doing a project plan, here's all the various steps that we would go through to actually start to implement some of those incentives-based strategies.
Right on. And so the funding they're talking about is how this kind of entire structure of AB 617 is funded from the top down, essentially.
Correct. Implementation dollars for districts, incentives to realize the priorities in your emission reduction plans, and community air grants that really have the broadest potential audience, right?
Thank you.
Sure. Hey, while I have the floor, can I just also add my congratulations to each and every one of you for your hard work. This is a big milestone, and CARB is super happy to be part of it and partner with the Air District and you in implementation. I also want to note that there is a next step here for CARB where we will take whatever comes from the Valley Board's action on the SERP. We will take that in turn to our board, and there will be an opportunity for community members from the CSC to also share any highlights from the SERP as part of that process. Before we go to the board, which right now we are tentatively planning for October, we also want to have a conversation with you about the process. We don't want to create an extra meeting. And so we would love it if we could start thinking about building that into probably either the July or August meeting at the latest.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Deldy. And then I just shared my screen just to show you the final number, since I saw a comment in here asking for the final count on the vote. All right, so that is it. I think we can end on Deldy's note. Actually, no, we can't. We need just one more second for public comment, or a couple minutes, depending on whether there's any interest to make a comment. Again, this is an important step of the process to ensure folks have an opportunity to address this CSC. So here's a reminder of how we go about public comment. So if you're a member of the public today and you would like to make a comment, please raise your hand at this time. And if you are joining us from a telephone, you can press *9 to let us know that you would like to share a comment, and we'll be able to go to you. And Maria y Roberto, we're happy to go to you.
Sí, buenas tardes a todos. Pues nada más quiero darles las gracias a todos y pues no nos queda más que seguir adelante, y aquí estamos para seguir trabajando, y creo yo que esto es un buen resultado de todos los que hemos estado aquí trabajando para la 617.
Gracias, María. No veo I don't see any, sorry, I don't see anyone else on this with their hands raised. So I'm going to ask one more time, and then otherwise we can end on that beautiful note that Maria mentioned. All right. Yeah, I see hearts. I think we're ready to adjourn, everyone. Thank you so much for your time and dedication. I'll be around in case there's any questions, but have a beautiful night and take care. We'll see you in July.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Good night. Yay.
Buenas noches a
Buenas
todos.
noches. Gracias, buenas noches.
Everyone.